Hey, shalom, shalom. It's your brother Raza Allah from GMS London Camp. First and foremost, want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakach Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Blessings to the hopeful and sincere elect. And this is just quick correspondence from the, breaking news last night with the war that's commencing right now over there in the Middle East between the US, Israel, and Iran, with the airstrikes and the foot patrol and the deployment of missiles over there to take out the, so-called T leaders over there in Iran, which they announced earlier on this morning that they so-called accomplished. They managed to take out one of the main leaders over there of the regime, Ayatollah, and so now we're just waiting for the retaliation of what Iran's going to do in terms of their get back towards Israel, which is the closest target to them, and over here in the West, mainly America, but they're going to be hitting more of mainly US bases and military situations over there that's targeted around the Middle East. They're going to be hitting them more of their military bases and trying to destroy those warships and so on and so forth in that surrounding area. And this is the beginning of World War III. As apostles and elders of Great Millstone been saying, this time was going to come, and now we're at the door. The third war cometh quickly, as pursuant to Revelations 11 and 14. And this war is going to be more devastating than both the world wars that took place, the two main world wars that took place earlier in the 19th century, or 20th century, should I say, combined, man. There's going to be a lot more dead bodies, a lot more devastation and destruction, because this war is not going to be just atomic. It's going to be nuclear, man. It's going to affect the actual globe, where the earth itself is going to shake like a salt shaker and rear to and fro like a drunkard, as the scriptures say. The earth's going to be shaken at the presence of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai and the weapons of his indignation. So the drums of war are beating right now, man. That cauldron of war, it's boiling, and now they're going to be losing a lot of foot soldiers and people on the front lines, depending on what takes place next. And they're going to be they're going to need the expendables out there, basically the useless eaters, to go and fend for them on the front line, meaning you tribes, man, you Jakes, especially you YNs, and you YMBs as well. Now in this article here, it says US soldier army, which is a female here, it says wakes up in panic after finding out she's being deployed to Iran. It says admitting that the thought of it would be an easy payday. She thought that would be an easy paycheck with no frontline action, as she fears World War III is on the horizons. Yeah. So you numbskulls of our people, man. You insubordinates, you infidels of our people that trust in the American government and they sign up to their army. You just signed your death warrant, man, because they're going to send you out there on the front line, and there's going to be a draft as well, because they're going to be losing foot soldiers, especially you females, you felines, because you women ain't built for no war. You women ain't built for war, man, and you ain't got no business being in no damn man's army. But yet and still, they wanted to cry for equality, right? So here goes your equality. Now you're going to have to fight on the front line, with other men to see if you can combat on the field, and you're gonna lose dramatically, man, because that just proves how weak an army is when you have to basically recruit women to fight for your army. That just shows how weak of an army your military is. In America, they do all this equality BS, feminism traits and all of that madness. So now these are why they got these fake females running around in the camps and all that, signing up to be military personnel, and now they're going to be put on the front lines against their will. So not only men are going to die in the war, but a lot of you women are going to die in the war too. And a lot, as I said, there's going to be a great draft on conscription, especially from the West, America, Great Britain, so on and so forth, to go and fight to defend Israel, them gutter rats, small hat rats over there in the land of Israel, against Iran and the neighboring cities, man. it's gonna get that you know, desperation, man. Calls for desperate matters, desperate matters, desperate times calls for desperate needs, as I say, Salakia. So it's gonna come to that point, man, and you know, Esau's gonna be you know, just throwing Jake out there, and you YNs and you YMBs that didn't want to repent and turn back to the Lord, that refused to return to the Heavenly Father for His only begotten Son, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, coming back to the history of your inheritance of knowing that you're the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. You wanted to stay African American and Caribbean and, you know, Hispanic and Native American, instead of returning to who you truly are biblically, according to the scriptures. You're going to be out there for the wolves to tear, and the Lord's not going to hear your cries and lamentations in that day. You're just going to die a grievous death on the front lines, and then you're going to get blown up by all kinds of, you know, missiles and, you know, grenades and so on and so forth, licking your ass, blowing your limbs, you know, from left to right and all of that, coming back with half your body missing and all that, you know, bare bullet wounds and all that. You're not even going to come back to the Americas. You're going to die over there in the Middle East, in the Levant, wherever that, you know, the main bulk of the war is going to take place, which is the Levant, you know, around the Saudi Arabia. That's where the main bulk of the war is going to take place. The Valley of Jehoshaphat, the place of Yahweh Shaphat, the place of the Most High's judgment, the Valley of Decision. So you're going to die over there. The bodies are going to pile up and stink. And then that's why, you know, the first crops of slaves, being the wicked elite that we get, that we're going to enslave in the Lord's kingdom, Yahweh Shai's kingdom, when He returns, when we get to, you know, put chains on and fetters of gold on the nobles and kings of this earth, you know, starting with the wicked banking elite. Their first job in the kingdom of heaven, in the Lord's kingdom, is they're going to be burying all these dead bodies, man. So they're going to be burying a lot of dead Jakes that, you know, basically put themselves out there to be sacrificed for Satan, you know. So this is definitely going to happen, man. This woman's shitting herself, and they got this viral video I just saw as well. I'm going to play it real quick. You won't be able to hear it, but basically you got these women bragging in the background. The brother Yakanan, you know, from GMS London camp, put it up earlier, and you got these women crying and rapping in the background to some hip hop song, basically talking about World War I was easy, World War II was easy, and basically how they're ready for Iran. Basically, I don't know it word for word, but it's supposed to be going viral right now on TikTok. See what these young heifers are doing. They think this World War III thing is a joke, you know. They don't take shit serious until shit hits the fan. So let's just, you know, see that you can see the video, but you won't be able to hear nothing. Yeah, they did World War I, they did World War II. They're gonna do this shit again. Iran, we ain't scared of you. Fuck Iran. That's what they're saying. They're saying they're not scared of Iran. You should be, because this World War is not going to be a joke, man. And Esau's not just going to be using conventional weapons like guns and all that. He's going to be using sonic plasma weapons, shit that can melt you from a distance. You know, what do you think they were experimenting and did all those different experiments in Guatemala and over there in Cuba? And recently as Cuba, when they arrested the Venezuelan president, those 40 Cubans, or how many it was, that got toasted with the radiation weapons, DEWs. They said they returned those bodies in shoe boxes, man, because they was melted. The bodies were so discarded and destroyed that they had to put the remains in shoe boxes and pass and cart them and post them back to wherever they were deployed from, man, in Cuba. So that's the Esau is not playing. The Esau doesn't play fair, and his blessing is of the sword, which the modern day sword is the gun. And Ezekiel 21 says his sword is furbished, you know, meaning that he's perfected his weaponry, man, and he's got all kinds of weapons ready to blow you niggas up, man, and he's gonna use it over there in this Middle Eastern war, World War III, the War of Armageddon, man. You ain't gonna just be using guns and grenades and shit. You're gonna be using laser beams, all kinds of weapons, melting you niggas out, melting the front line down. You know, you niggas are gonna get toasted out there anyway by the nuclear missiles, for the most part. Because to go over there, you know, they're gonna tell you to take the chip as well. You know, soldiers are gonna be told to take the biometric device under their right hand and their forehead, which is the mark of the beast, if they want to continue to be a soldier in the U.S. Army. Otherwise, they're gonna be dishonorably discharged and all that face time imprisonment and stuff, so on and so forth. So this is what's coming, man. This is no joke, man. We told you, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that this was coming, man. The time of Jacob's trouble's coming, and the time of great war is coming, war to end all wars, and there's gonna be a big draft as well. You know, these women out here volunteering to go out there and fight for the cause, but sooner or later, they're going to be doing things that they weren't signed up. They didn't sign up for. Like this woman here, she didn't sign up to be on the front line. She's basically going to die over there, man. She signed her death warrant. She didn't even know it. You know, and that's the stupidity of our people, man. Lord said our people are such as children. They have none understanding. Because if you was in your right mind, why would you go and fight for your enemy in an illegal war? You know, don't you know your own history of what this devil done to our people? But you want to join his army and fight for him on the front line. You deserve what you're going to get, which is death and destruction, man. So anyway, I'm not going to make this too long. I'm just going to read the 2 precepts and close out, man. But there's going to be a lot of dead bodies piling up, and the majority of them are going to be you tribes, man. 2/3 of our people, they're going to be cut off and died in many different forms and fashions. But the main way is by way of those nuclear missiles, man. Whether in the homeland or there be abroad, you know, in the war of Armageddon, in the front line, so to speak. This is Isaiah 3:25. The men shall fall by the sword, and the mighty in the war. So not only women, the men are going to die by the fall of the sword. By one of the sword is the gun. The Esau's got his militaries, the weaponry, his artillery, that he's got grenades, all type of, you know, weapons he's getting ready to use that he's experimented on throughout the ages to use on you people out there during the time of World War III. He's also got cybernetic organisms. He's got robot soldiers as well, you know. He's got the super soldier program. So Esau's been experimenting. He's going to unleash all of that in these last days, man. Just like how the Heavenly Father's going to unleash all the spookiest things of the Bible, you know, the mysteries of these different type of beasts, you know, teeth of wild beasts and so on and so forth that people ain't seen for a long time, and newly things created also in the deep waters and on earth. The Lord's going to reveal all of that in these last days, man. You know, Bigfoot, all these different Leviathan's going to rear his head, so on and so forth, man. So there's going to be many different disasters, both physically and spiritually, on this earth, man. The Lord's going to basically open up the portals, you know, and merge both the spiritual realm with this realm, which is already, you know, merged together, but we can't see it. But the Lord's going to open up people's eyes to see the spiritual realm, basically. And a lot of people's hearts, they're going to jump for. People's hearts are going to fail for fear, man. Like it tells you in the scriptures, men's hearts failing them for fear, for those things that are coming upon the earth. And when they see the Lord in the chariots, that's going to be, you know, that's going to be the curtain call of them all. Because they're not expecting a so-called dark-skinned man, you know, but white woolly hair and a white woolly beard, and red beaming eyes, bloodshot eyes, to be coming in a big-ass chariot to conquer the earth, man. To conquer these damn Edomites, man. They're not expecting that. But that's exactly what's going to happen, you know. So this is the best time to be alive, man, because all this is going to take place in this generation, man. So the men are going to fall by the sword, and the mighty men in the war, basically. So you women that wanted to cry for equality, you're going to die in the wars too, since you wanted to be equal to the man and you think you can do what a man can do. All right, we'll see. Put your ass in the front line and see how you survive. Guarantee you ain't going to survive nothing. You're just another dead body, man, for the pilot. And Ezekiel 21:9, I always read that precept. The sword is sharpened and also furbished, and shall be upon all the princes of Israel, man. Terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon all the princes of Israel, man. The Lord is going to let Esau, which is his sword on the left-hand side, punish you tribes, man. Vehemently, in the most horrific and grievous ways. Worse than the transatlantic slave trade, man. He's going to be torturing and butchering you jakes, man, in these last days, man. You and your damn children, you know. Your kinfolk. The ones that are undesirables, the 2/3, they ain't going to make it. That's why there's going to be a lot of lamentation and crying. But the Lord's only going to hear the cries of his elect. You know. The ones that sighed and cried for the abominations done in the midst thereof. Got that spiritual mark, the Tawah, which means an exemption from judgment. You know, so it's going to get bad out here, as Ezekiel 9:4 tells you, man. Many women, children, old and young, They're going to be put to death, man. So there you go. Let's get the one in the apocrypha, and I'll close out on that. As I said, I don't want to make this too long, straight to the point, but I want to read quite a bit in this chapter and verses and all that. So let me see. 2 Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? What days? The days we're in now. Because World War III is officially begun now. But back in the day, you could say it was proxy, whatever. You know, it was getting heated to some extent. But now we're fully in it, because these actual nations have fully crossed the line. The US especially and Israel have crossed the line, man, which they can't go back from. They actually attacked Iran and blew up certain places, killed a lot of people, you know, causing all this chaos around the four winds of the earth, you know. And that's a fulfilling of prophecy, Jeremiah 49 and 20. The least of the flock, them gutter rats shall draw them out. Draw who out? The Americans. American Edomites, aka Babylon, into this third world war, Slakia, provocation of war. They provoked them to join the war, so now it's all bets is off, man. Now, you know, they're going to do what they're doing with regarding to negotiations, peace talks and all that, but that's only going to last for so long. But now they've officially started World War III. With the shit that they've done in the last 24 hours, they've officially started World War III, man. So they can't turn back the hands of time. This place is through. It's a ticking time bomb. This is the beginning of sorrows and the great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. So there's going to be a lot of death, man, around the four winds of the earth. The beginning of wars. Wars just commenced in the past 24 hours, man. We only see how it escalates in the next couple of weeks to months. But it's definitely going to escalate to, you know, the Third World War, which is going to be a nuclear war, you know, between all the main super powers of this earth, Russia, China, and America, so on and so forth, man. It says, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. This is an evil time, meaning a very bad time on the earth. It says, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation, anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Let me jump down. 22 says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, hunger, stricken of food, rationings and all that, starving to death, and says, in the dearth upon the earth, and says, on the other, that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Now that sword that can destroy them could be through either civil disobedience, civil war, seditious times, as uprisings of the people, you know, police brutality and all of that, ice brutality, you know, or it could be them going over there and fighting this nuclear war, you know, defending so-called their country's honor, being patriots and all that, going on the front line and dying in this nuclear war, man, that's going to take place. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted and the city shall be cast down. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of dead bodies piling up, especially over there in the Middle East, the Valley of Decision. There's going to be a lot of dead bodies over there in the Levant. That's going to have to be, you know, buried after the smoke is cleared, so to speak, in proper pits, you know, to stop the spread of disease. You know, it says, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. Yeah, because a vast majority of men are going to be put to death, or they're going to be casted over there to different areas of the earth to fight in this war, man. You know, they're going to be conscripted, drafted off from these major cities. So there's going to be a scarcity of men, and real men at that. That's why Isaiah 4:1 is going to come into play, where the men of the Lord that are spiritually discerned and have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, they're going to be like a magnet for these women out here that are remaining, you know. They're going to find them wherever they can find them, and they're going to draw near to them, and they're going to hold on to them for their dear lives, begging for them for their protection. Because they're going to be shown in that day who the true men of the Lord are. You know, then it should be known who am I chosen, you know. The Lord's going to give some of those men power too, you know, and spiritual power. In these trying times, in these last days, you know, since the grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, desolation of men, no men around, man, no one to till the ground, no one to take care of the earth, you know, no one to collect the bins and all that, you know. no bin services, no no cleaners, none of that. It's just gonna be, the earth's gonna turn, these major cities are gonna turn into ghost towns and be littered with filth, decay. So that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice, like they show you in that movie I Am Legend. He was the only man in the major city for miles and cities on end until he ran across that doctor, the female doctor, but he was the only guy in the city. Him and his dog. He was talking to himself for the most part, talking to damn mannequins like they were human beings, because there was no one in the cities. And that's how it's going to be. You're going to be all alone, man. It's going to feel like you're all alone. And these cities are going to become ghost towns, man. Just like it did feel like it felt like during the whole C19er, and they was giving restrictions on people leaving their houses and so on and so forth, going out. When you snuck out of the house and you tried to go into this, the cities or whatever, it was like a ghost town, man. You couldn't see no one, you couldn't hear no one. You could hear the drop of a needle. That's how quiet it was. That's how it's going to be in the time of Jacob's trouble, and when these conscriptions take place too, because Esau's going to lock down the earth again once again. In these smart cities and so on and so forth. It says, for in the city there should be left 10 left. For in the city, for other cities, there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field. It says, which shall hide themselves in the thick rows and in the clefts of the rock. Yeah. So even the average persons that's, remaining, they're going to be hiding, man. They're not going to want to be seen. Just in case they get caught out there by the enemy, or get caught by the finger men. For those who's watched V for Vendetta, you know what I'm talking about the finger men. They're going into them curfews and all that. Martial law, basically. Verse 31 says, even so in those days, there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. It says, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old. It says, and the ways of all her paths shall grow up full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. Yeah, like I gave you the example of I Am Legend, man. Ghost towns and all of that, buildings, withering away, decaying away, bridges and roads just, toppled and crumbling. The worms spread underneath thee, the corrosion, The virgins, so this is the main point. Verse 33, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. Why? Because their husbands are going to be dead. It says the women shall mourn, having no husbands. It says their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers, man. So the men are going to be scarce in that day. And these days we're coming into those days right now, as we see, as you can plainly see if you got the spiritual eyesight to see it, man. We're at the very end now, man. So anything can happen from here on out. So next Black Swan event and all that, where they're going to try and blame Iran for some next terrorist attack that happens over here in the West, because they're looking for the retaliation, man. And Esau, he never lets the crisis go to waste. He could just do an inside job, another 9/11, and blame it on them, the Iranians or Russia or whoever, to further, push this cauldron of war, to the point of no return. But as we can tell, officially, World War 3 has started, man. It's commenced now, man. It's started. We can't turn back the hands of time, man. Esau can't say that he never did anything wrong, basically, to cause this situation to get out of hand. So the men are going to be scarce like hell, man. It says, in the wars shall the bridegrooms be destroyed. In what war? The Third World War, the war that cometh quickly. And you women too, a lot of you women are going to be destroyed. It says, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Yeah, so this is it. A lot of men are going to die in the war, man. In the wars shall the bridegrooms, the husbands, basically be destroyed, man. So situations like this is going to be a reality, and a lot of you women out there, as we said, since you wanted to fight for equality, you're going to be out there on the front lines, having to defend your honor, so to speak, and you're going to die grievous deaths. for your stupidity, thinking that you're going to fight for this devil and you're going to somehow defeat the enemy. And on top of that, you got Jakes that's, signed up to the army that think they're going to fight the Lord and the angels when he comes back, man. So you're double stupid if you think you're going to, escape the judgment of the Lord. Because if Esau gives you the assignment or the order to, see that you saw so-called UFOs in the sky and you're flying the plane and to shoot missiles or whatever it at the target, you're going to do what you've been told. And if you try and do that, that's going to piss the Lord and the angels off, and it's going to blow your ass to smithereens with laser beams, man. So a lot of Jakes, they're going to be destroyed for the simple fact that they're going to actually try and fight the Lord in the air during the time of World War III, because that's when the Lord's going to return with the chariots and the armada of ships, the so-called aliens, which are the angels, man, in chariots, man, so-called UFOs. And going back to that speech that Reagan used to say, said about 3 different times that we had a international, if we had a threat from outside of, outside of Earth, basically, alien threat, will we not all band together and turn and fight that enemy? So these idiots that signed up for the army, they're gonna have to fight for their defended their country's honor, so to speak, on the front lines. And also when the Lord Yahweh Shai returns with the angels, they're actually gonna think that they're fighting aliens, not knowing that's the Lord Yahweh Shai. So they're gonna be blasted to hell and back, man. They're gonna get nuked and they're gonna get laser beamed, man. So let's watch this video one more time. I know you can't hear it, but this is the stupidity of our people, man. Take everything for a fucking joke. Because they so-called killed the Ayatollah leader over there in Tehran. They so-called assassinated the main leader over there. So they think that the regime's over and all that, and things are in, basically America's gonna reap the credits, basically, as they usually think they always do. But this shit's gonna backfire on them, man, because they don't understand what's coming. And even one of the don't know if it was a minister or one of them army cadets, basically one of them politicians, he said, the weapons that they used over there in Tehran was just the old school weapons. He said, you people over there in the West don't even know what we got in our artillery. You ain't even no idea. But you're gonna get ready to find out. They're getting their artillery from, the superpowers of the earth, like Russia and China. So they're getting the more advanced weaponry, the undetectable type of missiles and, long range missiles and all that stuff from Russia and China. And he's saying basically, you got old missiles and old airstrike missiles that, basically hitting Israel or whatever, hitting your US embassies and military bases. That was our old artillery. But you ain't ready for the new stuff, basically. That's what he was saying in an article. So America's free, man. Either way, America and Israel, you guys signed your death warrant when you did what you did less than 24 hours ago, and you got this guy Trump bragging and boasting about how he's going to take everyone down over there in the Middle East for his butt buddy, the Israelis, man. So it's all downhill from here on out, man. So these are beautiful times. We're supposed to be rejoicing, man. Don't get sad or get all weary in the flesh. This is a time to rejoice, man, because we're one step closer to the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai, to deliver his elect and the destruction of Babylon the Great, man, and all our enemies, starting with Esau, Edom. So it's definitely a good time, the best time to be alive. Witness the fall of your enemy, man. So anyway, with that, I'm going to close out. Give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rechakodash, Shalom to the hopeful and sincere elect.